But here is the most exciting thing, folks, that gives you the faith to hold a portfolio, as my mother used to say, through thick and thin. Through thick and thin, you can hold this portfolio if you've got a broad diversification, because one of the things that I'm going to show you now is that it never stays there that long. You don't really have to sweat that long when it's that cheap. Now, I calculated out of the 1,546 weeks that I've been following this index, and it only spent 18 weeks out of the 1,546 week at 10 times earnings, which is 1.2% of the time. At 10 to 11 times earnings, it only spent there 4% of the time. And at 10 to 12 times earnings, it only spent 13% of the time. So if you buy it at 12 times earnings, you're going to be in the bottom 10% of all evaluation, and you can't go wrong there. So when we say we buy a major company at 10.3 times recession earnings, it's not going to stay there that long. It may get there, but it's not going to stay there that long. And here's the bottom line. If you buy it at 12 times earnings, that's about 13% of the time, you're going to be right 87% of the time. So over the long run, if you bought a basket of stocks, not one, but a basket, and you bought them at those levels, you would be right 87% of the time, which is not a bad average. But it gets better. If you buy it at 11 times earnings, 4.2%, you're there about 96% of the time. So 12 times gives you the 80%, 11 times gives you 96% over the long run. And if you buy it at 10 times earnings, 1.2% of the time, you're going to be right 99% of the time. So you really are loading the odds in your favor when you buy a quality company like this with a premier balance sheet and a dominant position, because it can go down lower, just like when we bought it first. It went from 15 to 13 and a half. It's back up to 19. It could easily go back to 15. But over the long run, you are going to have a good return because the odds are in your favor. And so when we think about all the problems that are priced in, when we take all the things that we are figuring in, and when we put that into our stock ratios, I think we can say with certain that over the long run, not in any 1 month or any 1% of the time, but over the long run, these stocks are not going to hit their worst case and stay there very long. Now, what we do with every stock, we take every stock like the Cisco, we put it together, then we weigh it, and then we weigh that stock portfolio. So every day of the month, I can tell you exactly, based on our worst case, if you want to call your serviceman, he'll tell you what the risk to your portfolio is. I'm going to address that now. Now today, with the market closed, I can tell you that the risk is 0%. But Monday is another day. So we have to think about that beyond today.